hitting some of the future MPB players we could see posted or
Oh
become
yeah.
IFAs and come over here and talk about some of those guys, like who we're excited for, who we think could find success, that kind of thing. And why don't we start with the Sawamura Award winner, which was great vindication for all believers of one Mr. Hiromi Itoh. Let's eat fucking go, as I like to say, because he finally won the Sawamura Award. He was a workhorse in 2025. It was just wonderful to see. I love Hiromi Itoh so dearly. I have his jersey. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, it's not Itover anymore. It
It's
is
not
it is
Itoh
yeah,
anymore.
Ito won Sawamura. I said this before that I think he's like a good horseshoe theory for Sawamura of like the sabermetric people and the traditionalists maybe agreeing because the ERA wasn't great for him relative to the rest of the competition. It was like 2.5, as opposed to a lot of guys had like a sub 2, but we like Chad innings eaters, right? And his
Yeah.
underlying under the hood numbers were awesome as well. Great strikeout rate, never walks anybody. So yeah, I mean Ito very deserving, I think. And as long as he doesn't have like an injury, I think he is on track to get posted maybe, within the next 2 years or so. He is from Hokkaido, so I know it's very important to him to
Hmm.
stay within that community and continue to give back. But I've described him as Yu Darvish's protege. I know they like to talk to each other a lot. Like, I mean, this guy throws like 13 different pitches. I mean, Brandon can lay out all those for you much better, but um, he added like a kick change this past offseason too, right? So you can tell he's kind of hip to whatever's trending over in the States as well. But yeah, I mean, he has like a very set game plan going into the game. Like he thinks about matchups and sequencing at a very high level, I think. And the fighters have been really one of the most sabermetrically inclined teams, I think, in recent years. They're also just ahead of the curve when it comes to like pitch design,
Hmm.
and pushing like induced vertical breaks. So Ito had the like among the best, highest rated fastballs in all of NPB this year, not just like relievers, like even
Yeah.
starters. So I mean, the vert he gets on it, he sits like 93, 94. I think Ito down the line, you're looking at like a Yu Darvish light in Major League
Hmm.
Baseball.
Yeah, that's something I would love. I just think is so fascinating about Ito is he throws the kitchen sink, but the fundamentals of like he has a good fastball that he can locate is good. And I'm not the biggest fan of Eno Saris, but he makes good points sometimes. And one of the things I think he said that really I agree with is the biggest indicator of success in Major League Baseball is do you have an above average fastball that you can like you have above average fastball and you can locate it, and that's what Hiromi Ito can do, even though he has like you said 13 other pitches and variations that he can tinker around and play with. I wrote on the document he's the Yu Darvish of Gen Z.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that's a great way to put it.
and he threw almost 200 innings this year, which is insane. Like he's not like the biggest guy in the world. Like you kind of look at him and you're like, he's kind of a little bit lanky, but he eats innings. He's going to be able to find success with his arsenal, just like refining shapes and working with pitching coaches in Major League Baseball and finding out what's going to work. And, like you said, being cerebral about matchups. I have the highest confidence that Hiromi Ito will be successful in Major League Baseball whenever he's posted. And I dearly hope he would consider coming to the San Francisco Giants because we would love him for his silliness of falling down on the mound after getting hit by a comebacker or whatever.
Yes, yes, I think that would be fun, and yeah, I mean, hopefully he gets over to MLB while Darvish is still playing, because I think if we got to see them face off in a matchup, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
If Darvish is still, arm is still there.
Yeah. I have a feeling that you Darvish is going to just kind of wait around to see if he can, stick around until one of his sons is like drafted or something
Yes,
and see if they can play in a game together and then he'll call it a day or
yeah,
whatever.
his son's good. His son is good. Going to
Yeah.
San Diego
Yeah.
State.
Yep. Why don't we talk about Kaima Taira next, who my God, is there a player I want? Is there no player I want in the San Francisco Giants uniform more than Kaima Taira? Because I think the Bay Area would absolutely love King Kaima. Um, Kaima Taira is a fascinating pitcher. He's from Okinawa, ethnically Okinawan. He is, I guess, on the shorter side and on the wider side, to put it respectfully. Just a hilarious build. And he is been both an elite relief pitcher who I believe set the, you know, consecutive appearances without allowing a run streak. I think they were calling him like Mr. Zero or something like that when he did that.
That's
Um,
right.
and he's also been a fantastically good starting pitcher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
And
guess I know you love him as much as I do, but
moving back to the rotation in 2026, a little unfortunate he got moved back to the pen in the first place. He was pretty adamant about the fact that he wants to start last year, but because he had been injured in 2024 and the team really didn't have much in the way of relief, they were like, "Come on, we need you in the ninth inning," and he agreed, and he was awesome. You know, tied for the PL lead in saves, but Brandon and I have talked about how this guy was doing a little bit of like a silent protest by throwing seven different pitches as a reliever, which you just don't see, obviously. Usually you want to kind of crunch that down to like two or three of your best pitches, but this guy was throwing everything, clearly still, you know, um, maintaining that ability to throw multiple innings if he were to be asked to do it. And I think with Kaima Taira, we're going to see in 2026 again what he's capable of as a starter. He was so good in his first year converting, that I was a little bit afraid that we would never be able to see that version of him again. But yeah, I think with his short height, he makes the most of that vertical approach angle. Again, very cerebral guy, and multiple great secondaries there in that splitter and the sweeper, cutter. And I think the team that lands Imai will kind of have the inside edge on potentially recruiting him.
mm-hmm. And I guess unfortunately the timing might work out where we get a lockout and we have to wait for after that
Yep.
to see him get posted, which would, obviously it's unfortunate, but it kind of is what it is at this point. But yeah, I love King Kaima. That Kaima Taira versus Tom DeBlock matchup was just I was so happy that they made that happen because I was like, these are just like two really wide dudes pitching in this game.
Yeah, yeah, I very much enjoyed. I was at that game. That was very fun.
Yeah. All right. I have a bunch of other names here. I'm happy just to kind of pick and choose here because we've been doing at this for a while, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. Who of these names here do you want to talk about next?
I think Shunpeita Yamashita is the guy with the highest upside. I've talked to a lot of people, and they always say the number one talent right now in MPB is Shunpeita Yamashita, and I think for good reason. His only problem is health. Has
Mhm.
those scary lingering lumbar issues that have, made him miss so much time. This year, he did not make his first start until September. But in the small sample, I mean, he had like close to a 40% strikeout rate as a starter. I mean, he sits 96 plus, gets it up to 99. The splitter and the curveball are both disgusting. Super north-south pitcher, obviously. He probably does need to have like a cutter, or like, I don't know if he can get to a sweeper from that slot, but if he can, then that's going to make him really well-rounded. Another guy that has slight command issues at times, like we saw him in early part of 2024 do the Blake Snell thing where he was just like never throwing a first pitch strike, always falling behind, and then a guy would like sit on one of his pitches and just like beat him that way. But when he is on, there's no doubt in my mind that Shunpeita Yamashita is a world-class pitcher. Whereas number 11, his build kind of reminds me of Shohei Ohtani in some ways. Like Yamashita is the most Shohei Ohtani-esque pitcher right now. And I think it's going to be a long time because he's super young, only 22, like for him to get to MLB. But let's say in 2029, 2030, I think we're gonna be here again talking about Shunpeita Yamashita as kind of like the best pitcher to go over since Roki or Yamamoto.
Yeah, just watching him pitch, like when he's on, it's like I have no other word to describe him other than diabolical. It's just straight diabolical stuff. And I heard, I can't remember exactly where I saw, but I saw something that like Dodgers scouts were already like watching him, and I was like, oh geez. I don't know how true that is, but you know, I'm sure. I hope he is able to be there for the World Baseball Classic because he'll
Yeah,
just be.
I would be so disappointed if he's not there. I mean, barring health, of course. If he's 100% healthy and ready to go, it would be a huge mistake for them not to pick him for the WBC.
For sure. Yeah. And, I just love when, you get fans being like, oh my God, who is this guy? When like you see like,
Dude,
I don't know.
the Reddit threads on him are going to go insane if he's in the WBC and throws like 99 and just dominates like for 2 innings against USA and then in the final.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be great. I don't know if Samurai Japan is going to make it there because Dave Roberts is going to try to block Shohei and everyone. So they might be cooked. Um, a guy for me who I enjoy watching is Hiroya Miyagi of the Oryx Buffaloes because he's just such a like his build and his like delivery and release are all kind of like just like he's a short guy and he releases the ball low. He doesn't throw like that hard. He's not like Shota Imanaga where it's like, oh, he's like kind of scraping 90. Like he throws a bit harder than that, but like there's just something mesmerizing about how he pitches. And that like I just go back to that three pitch sequence to Merrick Loop, which was just like the most disgusting three pitch sequence of all time, maybe, where it was like Ephus for a called strike, splitter, like forkball down and in for a swinging strike, and then a fastball on the black to strike him out. Um, he's a guy I would love to see try, like face major leaguers and maybe give it a go in Major League Baseball because he is a little bit kind of different. He's not like a power lefty,
Yeah.
but he's not like I don't want to call Shota Imanaga a gimmick, but like he's not that kind of he's not quite that, but he's also not like a power lefty. So he's just really interesting to me.
Very unique indeed. And, I think he complements really well with his teammate Yamashita because, as I mentioned, Yamashita is so north-south and then Miyagi's completely east-west. If you actually like mirror his mechanics, he basically throws like Tatsuya Imai. Like if you invert lefty to righty, like his slot and the way he throws is very similar to Imai. But I will say with Imai or with Miyagi rather, his command is maybe the best in NPB. I mean, this guy's like glove side command, just like absolutely painting like fastballs on the black. It makes his fastball play up relative to the velocity because yeah, I mean it's mostly low 90s, but it still is grades out as a very good pitch. He kills lefties with that sweeper. So again, similar to Imai in the sense that against same-handed hitters, like he just has no problems. And then against righties, I mean, he has the splitter that's just diabolical as well. So he's a guy that has a pretty deep mix. I think he knows exactly what he needs to do to get outs. And with him and Hiromi Itoh and Shoki Murakami, these guys they all are ethos enjoyers. So that gets plus points as well. Like that just shows you, and they always use it in the right spot, right? So that's almost like low key a way to tell if a guy's a good sequencer slash he has like a good read on the hitter, like knows exactly when to throw that in there and freeze him up.
Right, right. Your point about the glove side fastball command, I think too, the Baseball 100, a fantastic book. And in this, the chapter on Fergie Jenkins mentions, regardless of what happens on the last pitch, the next one is going to be low and away. And that's what his entire career was based on. And I think there's just something so beautiful and effective about just being able to, put a fastball low and away to a hitter and just make them reach for it, and make them
Yeah.
try to beat you.
Best CSW rate among qualifiers in MPB this year, by the way. The only
Yep.
guy who was better than Tatsuya Imai.
Yep. All right. Now let's finish it off with a couple like wild card guys. Um, First of all, there's two Cuban pitchers in MPB who have gotten a lot of attention. Um, it's hard to talk about them because one of them plays on a team that doesn't post players, and then he'd also need to defect probably. And then one of them recently or just moved to a team that generally basically doesn't post anyone either. In Rydell Martinez, the reliever for the Yomiuri Giants, and Livan Moinello, the newly minted SoftBank Hawk ace, I guess.
Yeah, both of them, if they were to go to MLB, I mean, the upside is insane. I don't think we're going to see it because, as you mentioned, they're Cuban. They would have to defect. They haven't shown um, a want to do that when their Cuban teammate Yario Rodriguez defected in the 2023 WBC, but they chose not to. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, unless there's geopolitical differences, of course. But Moinello, I mean, he's so short and he's so small and like lanky, and yet he throws mid 90s, and he has this 3,000 plus RPM curveball, and I mean this, and then he added a kind of like a slurve slash sweeper later in the year as well to go with his slider and changeup. So I mean, Moinello, arguably the number one or number two starter in MPB going into 2026. Converting from a reliever to a starter has just been absolutely seamless for him, and he gets so much out of that small frame of his. Martinez, one of the most consistent closers, I think, really in history. I mean, this guy continues to put up like low ones to even sub one ERAs at times at a role as volatile as closer. This guy's had no problems. Great splitter, throws pretty hard. From a higher slot, he's obviously taller and larger than Moinello, a bit more of a traditional kind of Cuban build. But yeah, I mean he's really filthy.
Yeah, and like you said, that Moinello curveball is so gorgeous. It's so pretty. Um, I'm really excited to see them get to throw to Omar Hernandez, Team Spain legend in the WBC, because you know Cuba probably like the highest variance team in the WBC, but like they are low key kind of looking dangerous with some of the commitments they've
Cuba's
gotten.
good, dude. Cuba's good.
Zach Neto on Cuba, Zach Neto. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be fun, and I will hopefully be in San Juan, Puerto Rico to watch them play. Um, Finally, let's wrap things up with I don't know, maybe the most interesting prospect in the world in Rintaro Sasaki. He bucks conventions to go to Stanford instead of getting drafted, which you get a free ride to Stanford. Who can blame him? He goes to Stanford. He plays in draft leagues. He isn't really that good. I mean, he's not bad in his first season. Like he had like around an 800 OPS. The slug was surprisingly not really that great with metal bats. Um, and then you were covering this, and it was insane. But the SoftBank Hawks just thought, yeah, you know what? We'll just draft him. Why not? It's just for the jokes of it, I guess. When you're SoftBank and you never post players and you have, F off money, you can just do that and be fine and absorb that risk. What do you think about Rintaro Sasaki?
Rentaro Sasaki is forging his own path, and this is one of the most intriguing players, I think, in the entire world to follow. What is his decision going to be next summer? He can wait until then to decide, do I want to sign with SoftBank or do I want to sign with whatever MLB team drafts me? He actually gets to see where he gets drafted in July first before he makes that ultimate decision in late July. But I think if he is a first, second, third round pick, he probably goes to MLB. If he's any lower than that, I think he chooses SoftBank. And again, NPB kind of curved their own rules on this. They've kind of made the Rintaro Sasaki rule where Japanese players in overseas schools in the U.S. can now be draft eligible. That was not a thing before. Plus, he was a freshman. I mean, he's not even it's one thing if he's like a junior or a senior, but he's not. So he's going to be in his sophomore year next year. Let's be honest, his debut season was slightly disappointing, but there's an adjustment period. Obviously, he's going to Stanford, so academics are a big part of it. He's learning the language. There's a lot of off the field stuff you have to consider. So I think this 2026 season is going to be a really big test for him.
Yeah.
But if he does decide to come to MPB, then I think SoftBank will, one, give him the biggest signing bonus in MPB history. It's going to be bigger than, say, like a third round or second round, even slot bonus in MLB. And I have good reason to believe that they would give him a posting clause.
Mhm.
Despite the fact that they are an anti-posting team, I have like good reason to believe they would actually give him a posting clause to convince him to come to MPB, because I don't think the reason that SoftBank doesn't give a posting clause, it's mostly financial related, right? Like if it's to
Mhm.
convince a player to come to your organization rather than waste their first round pick, I don't see why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure. And he has all the leverage in the world because even if he's not taken in the first couple of rounds, like he could just be like, well, I'm still in school. I'm fine. Just,
Yep,
maybe things are changing. I just want to keep working on my degree or whatever. I like Stanford. It's a world-class institution. I'm just going to stay here. So,
absolutely.
that's interesting to pay attention to, and something that is, I'm not going to talk about Rintaro Sasaki without mentioning this, but I have seen multiple times that Giants bullpen coach Taira Uematsu has visited him at Stanford, and he has gone to Oracle Park multiple times while he's been at Stanford. So, I'm not going to say there's something under the board happening, but there's some kind of relationship there. And keep in mind, he chose Stanford over UCLA. So,
Yeah, and over Vanderbilt, and he values the academics, and he seems to like the area as well.
yeah. So hopefully he'll be putting on the orange and black come next year's draft, along with Mathis Murant of France and Paul Schmitz of Germany. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to talk about unless there's anything else you want to bring up.
No, I mean, we could go on for like 3 hours if we wanted to hit on like every single player that might be posted. You got Taisei, you got Hiroto Saiki, Atsuki Taneichi,
Mm-hmm.
Chihiro Sumida, like Teraraki Sato, by the way,
Shugo Maki.
Shota Morishita, Shugo Maki.
Uh,
Again, we could just go on forever and ever. But yeah, let's keep it to there for now.